further strengthen our mutual beneficial cooperation across a wide range of areas has been confirmed, and we have outlined concrete steps that we, I hope, are going to implement shortly. We have had a detailed discussion of the trade and economic components of our ties, and we have agreed that despite some growth in bilateral trade over the last year, the absolute figures are not satisfactory and they do not correspond to the potential of Russia and Guinea-Bissau. That's why it's important to continue our joint efforts aimed at further scaling up our economic cooperation. We will help advance our business cooperation in development of mineral resources, geological exploration, energy, and fishing, and in this regard, our Bissauan friends have confirmed their readiness to continue creating conducive work environment for Russian companies, including United Company Rusal, that is now actively developing its positions on the Bissauan market, creating new jobs and provides new tax revenues for state budget of Guinea-Bissau. Madam Jau proposed an idea to compile and to sign a number of laws that will help ensure the guarantees for business economic operators. This will also be made at strengthening our other areas of our cooperation. One of the ideas proposed by Madam Jau is to prepare the Russian-Bissauan Business Forum. We have agreed that each country will work out proposals on how this forum can focus on mutually promising areas. I think it's a very good idea, and we will be implementing it. We have a very good level of cooperation in humanitarian area, including training of Bissauan specialists in Russian universities. Recently, we've increased the quota allocated by our government for this purpose, and we're ready to scale up this quota in the future. We are grateful to our colleagues for briefing us in detail on the current developments in Guinea-Bissau, on the measures taken by the country to ensure domestic stability and to prepare for general elections slated for December 2026. We wish every success to Guinea-Bissau in holding these events that will be aimed at consolidating the society of Guinea-Bissau and will provide the conditions for progressive development. We've discussed pressing issues of our time, including in the context of the tendency that is aimed at strengthening democratic foundations and the compliance with the UN Charter that should be respected in their entirety and interconnectedness, not on the selective basis. We have underlined the importance to respect the rights of all peoples for their independent way of development, which is obstructed of our Western colleagues that cannot put up with the fact that 500-year-old domination has come to its end, and it's not going to return to come back. We'll closely coordinate our efforts within the United Nations, where over the last year a lot of important strategic decisions have been taken, including the need to recognize the slave trade, the gravest crime against humanity, and to proclaim December 14th the International Day Against Colonialism. We have a common shared vision that this should move from slogans to practical steps that will help to prevent relapse of colonial practices that we see prevail in political area. Not all the decisions taken by the General Assembly have been implemented, and we see relapse in economy, where Africa, with its rich resources, is not getting any added value from the raw materials extracted on its territory, which is later exported to Western countries, where the main revenue is being generated. as well. We have also paid attention to the situation in the African continent, where hotspots of instability remain. We've talked about the vast Sahara-Sahel region, and we have a shared vision that regional crises and the transformations that are taking place in the countries of the region should be settled first and foremost by the African states themselves, without the attempts to impose any decisions upon them. And in this regard, Russia has reaffirmed its firm support to any efforts aimed at normalizing the situation in West Africa, in particular Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Niger, and these countries, to our mind, should be active within the African Union. Some are trying to obstruct these efforts, but I am convinced that the current leadership of the African Union that I communicated with last week during my African trip will continue its policies aimed at consolidation and not at creating gaps within the African Union. It is in the interest of all countries involved. And of course, we've also talked about the preparations for the third Russia-Africa summit. My colleague has confirmed that President of Guinea-Bissau will take part in this event, and we will be glad to extend hospitality to a high-profile delegation from Guinea-Bissau. I think that it has been a very useful discussion. We've outlined a roadmap that we will be implementing. Thank you very much.
Excellency Minister Lavrov, ladies and gentlemen, allow me first and foremost to express my sincere appreciation to Minister Lavrov for the quality of our discussions and for the constructive engagement in which our consultations were conducted. Today's meeting reflects the enduring friendship between the Republic of Guinea-Bissau and the Russian Federation, and it reaffirms our shared determination to further strengthen a relationship that has stood the test of time and continues to evolve in response to the realities of today's world. Our discussions were substantive, forward-looking, and focused in practical outcomes. We reviewed the full spectrum of our bilateral relations and identified new opportunities to deepen cooperation in areas that are central to Guinea-Bissau's national development and priorities, which include, amongst other, agriculture, food security, fisheries, higher education, scientific research, public health, amongst others. We also agreed on the importance of strengthening economic ties, encouraging closer engagement between our institutions, our universities and business communities, and creating favorable conditions for investments, for innovation and exchange of knowledge and expertise. Our task now is to build on the strength of our political dialogue by fostering stronger institutional partnership, closer economic cooperation, and concrete initiatives that deliver tangible and lasting benefit to the people of our two countries. Beyond our bilateral agenda, we exchanged views on a number of regional and international issues of common interest in a spirit of mutual respect and constructive dialogue. I leave Moscow encouraged by the quality of our exchanges and confident that today's consultations have laid the foundations for a new phase in the relationship between the Republic of Guinea-Bissau and the Federation of Russia. Allow me once again to thank Minister Lavrov, dear friend, and the Russian authorities for their warm welcome and for the excellent spirit in which our discussions were conducted. Thank you.
Переходим к вопросу.
We'll now move on to the questions RT channel. First question to Mr. Lavrov. The third Russia-Africa summit is fast approaching. It's going to take place in a couple of months. During the first summit, the political foundation was laid. The second one dealt with food and security. My question is, what are the main economic and logistical breakthroughs that you are expecting from the upcoming meeting in Moscow? As far as breakthroughs go, one should only talk about that following the summit. We're not going to demonstrate something just as a formality. We want to deepen our relations and we want to make them bring real fruits, first in terms of its material outcome, revenue, and it should be in the interest of the economies, people, states of the African continent and of the Russian Federation, because the principles of our cooperation are the principles of mutual respect and mutual benefit. One should take into account that this summit, as you said, symbolizes a new stage in terms of shifting to working out concrete projects that can be implemented mutual benefit. We've tried to adapt the agenda of the summit to the decisions taken within the African Union with regard to long-term development goals of the continent. And in this regard, there is a document that we shouldn't mention, Agenda 2063. It was created to coincide with the 100th anniversary of the African Unity Organization. It was the predecessor of the African Union. And this agenda includes many items that we want to include into the program of the development of our relations with the African continent. The priority issues will include information, ICTs, AI, digital economy, settlements in alternative currencies, as opposed to the main Western currencies that are reserves currencies, but that the West is using for its purposes. Settlement issues are the focus of many associations now, including in Africa, Latin America, the SCO, BRICS. So this is a very important component of the activity aimed at liberating the countries from the colonial dependence. There is still a large degree of dependence, and food security is another issue that has always been important for African countries. The food security will be reviewed from the point of view of expanding the export of Russian commodities and fertilizers, as well as from the point of view of establishing production facilities of agricultural commodities and fertilizers on the African continent itself. So I hope that all these areas will be worked on in concrete terms in the remaining times, and they will be reflected in the plan of action for 2027-2029, and I also hope that they will be enshrined in the declaration following the summit. Sputnik Agency, good afternoon. Distinguished Mr. Lavrov, you've talked about economic sovereignty today. How can Russia support of the bauxite sector in Guinea-Bissau help build up local processing capacities and create added value within the country instead of remaining exporter of commodities? How can this help achieve economic sovereignty? Thank you. I think this program that the United Company Rusal is implementing helps to achieve the goals that you have mentioned. First, processing capacities is one of the priorities that Rusal is pursuing.
Second, the company is also making its best to ensure localization of manufacturing and production so that local personnel would master the necessary skills to generate added value within a country and at the same time to contribute to the development of the country and to granting the global aluminium market satisfaction. To my understanding, approximately 70 students currently study in our universities, so the preparation of personnel will contribute to higher localization in this sector in this friendly country of Guinea-Bissau. It is equally important that not only production and manufacturing solutions are found, but the Rusal company also focuses on the corporate responsibility on the development track for the country. So we are grateful for our colleagues for their positive and high assessment of the company activity, because conducive environment is what is welcomed by the Rusal company. It is also a good news for other Russian companies. Hopefully, while preparing for the forum, we will be organizing the entrepreneurship forum as well. Thank you.